Good afternoon, everybody. Sitting here with Shawn Hutchinson, the chairman of the Barton County Commission. Today has been a really big day for us here, for all of us commissioners, right, Shawn?
Sure has, yeah. So today we did quite a few things, but the biggest thing we did was the HVAC renovation project.
Right, and we've really been working on this for past year, actually a couple of years, and past commissioners before us are working on long before that. They were able to set aside over $5 million in reserves, almost $6 million actually, and then with the ARP or ARPA funds a couple years ago, over $2,800,000 was saved in money. And we've got some slides to show you, and we've got up here on our board right now the beautiful Barton County Courthouse as it stands today. And I thought this was interesting in today's meeting for anybody that was able to come to the County Commission meeting. This is the Barton County Courthouse as it was being built in 1917. And something that interested me, I think Shawn as well, is that this courthouse costs $250,000. I'm wondering how on earth they were able to save the money when we're worried about spending just under or over $4 million. And so they spent a lot of money and they built a beautiful courthouse, and we feel like it's our job to keep it this way. And you know, a lot of questions came about us, and Shawn and I and the rest of the commissioners were worried about spending money to renovate the heating and air system, which has been needed to be done for years. But we worried because it's such a time where cost of building materials and labor is so expensive. But it also is the best time because there are some historical credits. We believe that we can get over $1 million back on our renovation. And I'm going to turn it over to Shawn because we have another slide to show you. Shows kind of the situation as the courthouse is today and why this project is so needed.
Well, and as you're going to that, I'll share something with you guys that I didn't share at the meeting today. I forgot to bring it up. I had done my research on the inflation between 1917 and today, what $250,000 would have cost today. That's not even an accurate number. I think that only came up to around $6 million. So then I started thinking, well, if they were able to build it in 1917 for $250,000, that means that when adjusted for inflation, we should be able to build the courthouse for $6 million today. That is not correct. So apparently a lot of things like labor were less expensive. People worked their butts off back then, and so we do owe them a debt of gratitude for the best estimate I could get was between 20 and 60 million to build this courthouse today.
I bet that's right, yeah.
20 to 60. That's a big spread, but.
Right. Well, we look at cost of just what the city's going through with the police department and how expensive. So I'm thankful that that people before us took very good care of this building, and something that was discussed in our meeting today is that we have to be the brave ones to keep it in good condition. And this project, with just the conditions of the pipes, is long overdue.
I think that's what you wanted me to point out up there.
Yes.
So this is our county administrator, Matt Potzner, and this is above his desk. This is as far as we had to go from the mechanical room, was just across the hall. Pull one ceiling tile, and we found a patch right here in the closed loop piping. And it just so happens while we were looking at that, our maintenance man, Fred, showed up, and we asked Fred, so how many of those patches do you think are in the courthouse? He said, I have no idea. I said, do you think over 100? He says, oh, well over 100. So we have over 100 of these patches in our closed loop system that could at any time give way. The patches themselves or the pipes themselves. You know, we have historical documents in the deeds office that go back to the Civil War. What a catastrophe if a pipe burst up there and we lost those books. That irreplaceable.
Irreplaceable voting equipment, as Donna Zimmerman shared today, how expensive that is. Yeah.
Well, and the voting equipment, so things that can be replaced and can't be replaced, right?
True.
The books in the deeds office cannot be replaced. Okay. The voting equipment can be replaced. However, it has to be certified within a certain amount of time. So even if, let's say a pipe bursts up there, ruins the voting equipment, we get an insurance check to cover it. That's only half the battle. That's just the money. We could miss critical deadlines in elections because of a pipe bursting in above the elections office.
Very true.
Clerk's office.
And so we have another slide up here that I don't believe I showed. I thought this was pretty cool. It's the courthouse with the steps. again, the beginning.
Can you go back to that one, Barb?
Yes, I will.
So that's an interesting one too. I wanted to point out, they used to have the steps going up there. So a lot of times, or when I first became a commissioner, I wondered why what most people use is located on the second floor of the courthouse. It never made sense to me until I saw this picture. Well, when the courthouse was built, the steps took you to the second floor automatically. So really the second floor was the first floor back in the day.
The first floor. Yeah,
Yep.
very good point.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. And at least when they did redo that, and they did that because the cost to fix everything that was needed, it was cheaper to remove that. But it does make sense that that was the first floor. And now, with today's world, with people in handicap and having to use elevators and things like that, as part as our project, we figured that this would be a good time, since we do have to move out of the courthouse. You know, we're not going to get fancy or anything like that, but we're going to use this time to paint and recarpet areas that are needed, and possibly look at moving the treasurer's office to the first floor. We don't know how that'll look yet, so I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but just give people information.
But the point is valid, that if you go up to the second floor and just kind of sit in the rotunda and watch the flow of traffic, my best guess is now that DMV is no longer there, 90% of the foot traffic on the second floor is to the treasurer's office, if not more.
I believe so.
Yeah. So if we bring that one office down, that eliminates 90% of the foot traffic to the second floor from having to use the stairs or our aging elevator, which is a topic for another day.
Topic for another
we better
day.
start saving for, you know.
Yeah, we got to save for that. Yeah. Well, you know, we just wanted everybody to know that the estimated project costs, we know this is not going to be exact, but we are at $4,182,000. But just so that everybody knows that $5,787,000 was already saved by commissioners before us. That was money that was put into reserves. And then the ARP relief funds brought us $2,803,000. If we feel like with this scope of a project that we do have the funds to do it, we need to do it, we know that. And then we don't want people to forget the other reason that we're jumping on board with this now is that the $1 million, possibly $1 million in historical tax credits that we could get back is the best
So
use.
yeah, and another way to look at that, so 2.8 in ARPA money, as much as 1.2 somewhere in there for historical tax credits. That's $4 million, folks. So this project's 4.2.
Yeah.
If there was a better time to do it, I don't know when it would be. Before we were commissioners, that would have been the better time to do it, right?
Right, yes.
But now that the can's been kicked into our laps, we got a new majority of commissioners on with us, and they were all brave enough and willing enough and competent enough to do the due diligence, the work, attend the meetings. They even came to these meetings a year ahead of being seated, just so that they were educated and could make an educated decision, which turned out to be today that they did. So,
anybody has any questions? I know any of the 5 commissioners be willing to answer any questions. You can call myself, you can call Shawn, and we will keep everybody up on everything going on.
Yep, we didn't want to do it, but we felt like we had to do it, and we even searched down these bids quite a bit and found out that the mechanical aspect of this project was done excellent. The architectural factor of it was done excellent. The mechanical contractor that we have hired is excellent. They're using a lot of local contractors as subs, so some of this money is going to stay local as we can, and we thank you for your guys' support. And I'd ask our wonderful cameraman, if when we're done here, if he could zoom into one of these registers as we close out, and that could be something you paste in, whatever. But the bottom line is, as you see this register, you'll realize that this is very old. This register is over 25 years past its serviceable life expectancy. So I think we got our money's worth out of the old system.
Yeah, long more than what they probably ever expected.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Here's a typical example of our registers here in the courthouse. You can see that not only has it been open to try to maintain it, even though that's impossible because we can't get parts, but it's also leaking out on the floor. And here in the commission chambers, we have a hard time even hearing our constituents during a meeting when we have the air conditioner on. It's very hot in here.
this is an example of what the walls look like where the pipes are leaking. And as we talk to the maintenance, they know over 100 leaks, but the other problem is it's patch on top of patch, so it's to the point where you can't even patch it anymore. And this is pretty common of what you'll see throughout the courthouse in different places. We've got the leaks and the stains and the constant upkeep, and then the registers that don't stay shut and are hard to control.
All right, here we are in the Barton County Courthouse mechanical room area, where you can see one of our handy drip buckets and our rusted out file cabinet. And if you look above that, you'll see a patch in our HVAC system that's not holding up very well. If you come on over to the right, you'll see another drip bucket hanging from the ceiling right here. It's just time to do something. We don't want to, but we kind of have to.
Well, thanks for joining us today, and hopefully you understand a little bit of where we were at and why we voted the way we did to approve this project.
Thanks again, everybody, and really value your support.